painted not by humanity, but by God. Strange that God utilizes broken things like you and I to create beauty. God uses that which other people have cast aside to do God's work. So you have a responsibility. Responsibility one, to pray for Reverend Charles. Not just the prayer where you say, I'm praying for you, but the prayer where you actually will call his name and lift him up. But not only prayer is your responsibility and your charge, but also grace. You're all beneficiaries of God's grace, that unmerited, unwarranted acts of love that flows from God. God has dispensed grace to each of us, and grace should be dispensed to Reverend Charles. He did not come to this planet perfect. None of us have. And so do not expect perfection from anyone who may have the yoke of ministry around their neck. Make sure that you offer him grace, that he may sip from that cup and be able to find rest. The third piece of the charge that I give to you is a demand that you must make of Reverend Charles. A demand that you must make of Reverend Charles. Demand that he rest. Demand that he take a Sabbath. Demand that he spend time with his family. Not just words, but make the demand that you cannot show up here, because it is your responsibility that you deal with your first ministry, the ministry that God has given you. To pray, to give grace, and to demand that he rest. But we pass on this particular charge to you, Reverend Charles. Doc, I believe encased within the confines of a black body, a soul was touched by God. The finger of God left an imprint upon your heart. The very marrow of your bones has the residue left by the paraclete when your body was being formed and nurtured in your mother's womb. That's why there is a fire still shut up in your bones. This is why this unquenchable fire that hydrogen married to oxygen cannot put out. You have a new responsibility this day. The door has been opened, not by you, but by one greater than you. You have been recruited into a band, possibly an orchestra. I must be honest that the songs that you compose will be some songs that will be of joy. But to be honest and truthful, that the most of your compositions will be blues. You will write blues songs, you will sing blues songs, and you will have blues lyrics in your heart. But if you sing your blues long enough, your blues of Friday will become a gospel shout on Sunday morning. Never forget, as Gardner C. Taylor said in his Beecher Lectures in 1979, there is a foolishness to preaching. With that voice that was a mix of Sean Connery and James Earl Jones, he stood before God's people and said it's foolishness to preach. Why would God trust that which is broken to purvey and push forth that which is beautiful? It would make more sense for God to trust the leaves, because leaves have never turned their back on God. It would make more sense for God to trust flowers, because flowers know that every spring they must stretch forth and open their buds and give praise to God. But God gave the task of preaching to that which is broken. He is given a treasure in jars of clay. If you remember that, it will humble you, recognizing that God has given something to you that none of us deserve. The foolishness of preaching, but yet God is willing to call another child by the name of Charles to preach and teach the unconditional love of Jesus Christ. So the next time you walk by a tree, when you look at a flower, know that they can do a better job preaching, but God has given the task to you. May God bless you.